What is this? Oh, hi. This is poster about NOx vehicular emission and control. Do you know about NOx? You don't know? It's okay. Let me explain. Let's go. Hi. Today I will cover part of introduction of nitrogen oxide, or well known as NOx. Do you guys have some knowledge about NOx, or what is NOx actually? Nitrogen oxides refers to a group of 7 compounds that include nitrogen dioxide and nitric oxide, among others. These compounds are significant air pollutants primarily generated from anthropogenic human activities such as vehicle, emission and industrial processes. NOx physically colorless gases that are emitted from industrial processes, which is it comes from manufacturing of nitric acid and the refining of petroleum. NOx is important for several reasons, which is for air quality, health and environment, and the third is chemical properties. Overall, controlling NOx emission is crucial for improving air quality and protecting public health and the environment. Thank you.
So now I will present about how the NOx occur in our environment and daily life. There are 4 points that I will mention in this part, which are the high pressure and temperature in engine, incomplete combustion, formation of nitrogen dioxide and the formation of nitrogen oxide. So let's get directly to our first point, which is high pressure and temperature in engine. As we all know, the transportation that we use daily, which are cars and motorcycles, mainly use engine in their core part. So when this engine work hard every single day, it will cause high pressure and temperature in the engine. This will make the nitrogen oxide to form during the work of the engine. Next, the incomplete combustion. The term incomplete here refers to the incomplete oxygen in our environment. So, when the nitrogen on our atmosphere react with oxygen that is incomplete, it causes lots of pollutants to form, which are the particulate matter, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen monoxide. So, the next point, which is the formation of nitrogen oxide. This nitrogen oxide mainly formed in industrial area, as the industry mainly use fuel in their industry. So, this fuel consists of nitrogen as their main compartment. When this nitrogen react with oxygen, it will causes nitrogen monoxide to form. Lastly, the nitrogen dioxide. From the nitrogen monoxide earlier, it will react with oxygen in our environment and causes nitrogen dioxide to form in our atmosphere. So that's all for my part.
Nitrogen oxide, often referred to NOx, are a group of highly reactive gases. But what makes them a hidden danger to our health and environment? So firstly, NOx has severe health impact. Exposure to NOx can lead to cardiovascular diseases, which affect our heart and blood vessels. Think of it like adding extra stress to an already over engine. So next, NOx can also aggravate asthma, which make breathing difficult for many people. Not only that, but there is potential for it to be carcinogenic, meaning that it contributes to cancer development. Do you also know that NOx has detrimental effects on the environment. So when nitrogen oxide combined with sulfur dioxide and water, it will lead to formation of nitric acid and sulfuric acid, which causes it to be acid rain. NOx play a significant role in the formation of ground level ozone, a major component of smoke. So when nitrogen oxide interact with volatile organic compound VOCs in the presence of sunlight, it forms ozone. While ozone hideout in the stratosphere protects up from harmful UV radiation. In fact, ground level ozone is a potent greenhouse gas that traps heat in the atmosphere. So the trapped heat from ground level ozone will lead to a higher temperature, which can contribute to the phenomenon known as global warming. So this warming effect has cascading impact on our climate, which lead to extreme weather events like melting polar ice and rising sea levels. In cities with heavy traffic, NOx emissions are of the charge which make air quality a serious concern. So have you ever walked through a busy street and feel like you need a gas mask? So to conclude, the impacts of NOx are cardiovascular disease, aggravate asthma, and carcinogenic potential for health impact. And for the environmental effects of NOx, it includes acid rains and global warming.
Ways to reduce NOx emission. One of them is exhaust gas recirculation, known as EGR. EGR technique has been used to suppress NOx formation and one of today's most common emission control system. Here, exhaust gases are reintroduced into the engine intake air, diluting the fuel air mixture in the combustion chamber and increasing its heat capacity. This reduces the temperature rise during combustion. NOx formation is suppressed in combustion and is kept below 30,000 Celsius, the temperature above which NOx will be readily formed. EGR reduces the levels of NOx emitted by the engine by recirculating exhaust gas into the engine cylinder, a percent of the air replaced with carbon dioxide. To control both NOx and particulate matter emissions accurately, the amount of recirculated exhaust gas and air entering the engine must be controlled precisely under all operating conditions at different load conditions. What are the benefits of using EGR? So EGR is an efficient process for reducing NOx levels. The impact of EGR on the engine packaging or envelope is minimal. EGR is also commonly used in off-highway application. Lastly, EGR is base system can improve fluid consumption over non-EGR system. But the EGR also have its own disadvantages. One of them is exhaust gas circulation deletes are illegal in the United States and many other countries. They also can decrease horsepower and the potential for engine knocking and engine damage increases. Next is early in-cylinder injection, known as EDI. EDI injects fuel into the cylinder during the compression stroke or late suction stroke, which give the fuel and air time to mix. This can reduce NOx emission up to 98% compared to conventional diesel combustion. EDI can also reduce soot emission. However, it can also lead to increase of carbon monoxide and hydrocarbon emission, which can deteriorate fuel consumption. Some challenges associated with EDI include preparing a homogeneous mixture, the oil dilution, and has high pressure rise rate. And it will also have excessively advanced pilot injection, which can deteriorate engine performance. Lastly is catalytic converter. The catalytic converter is attached to the exhaust pipe underneath a car. It is a metal box with a ceramic honeycomb inside. The honeycomb is coated with a mix of platinum, palladium, and rhodium. These noble metals are good at resisting oxidation, corrosion, and acid. This means they can stand up to all the chemical released by a car engine. So how does the catalytic converter function? So the catalyst in catalytic converts cause oxidation and reduction reaction. So the platinum and rhodium take part in the reduction reaction. These reduce nitrogen oxides in the exhaust. They do this by removing nitrogen atom from nitrogen oxide molecules. This means that the free oxygen atoms form oxygen gas. Then the nitrogen atoms attached to the catalyst react with each other. This creates nitrogen gas. Oxygen and nitrogen gases are both safe to breathe. A modern catalytic converter also have an oxygen sensor. It detects the ratio of fuel and air in the exhaust. Too much fuel in the engine leave unburned hydrocarbons. After combustion, too much oxygen produce more nitrogen oxides. If the ratio is not correct, the oxygen sensor changes the amount of fuel going into the engine. That's all from me.
In Malaysia, guidelines and regulations on vehicular emissions, specifically for nitrogen oxide, which is NOx, and other pollutants are set primarily by the Department of Environment and regulated under the Environment Quality Act 1974. For the first regulation, which is Vehicle Type Approval, which is VTA, and emission standards. Malaysia follows the Euro emission standards, with most vehicles currently required to comply with Euro 4 or Euro 5 standards. These standards specify the maximum allowable emissions for pollutants such as NOx, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, and particulate matter. The DOE ensures that imported and locally manufactured vehicles meet these standards through Vehicle Type Approval, which is VTA, which includes testing for emissions. For the next one, control of NOx emissions. The Euro standards progressively lower permissible NOx levels, aiming to reduce pollution from vehicles. For example, Euro 4 standards for diesel vehicles significantly limit NOx emissions compared to Euro 2 standards. Regulations also cover in-use vehicles, where older vehicles may be required to undergo regular inspections to ensure compliance with emission limits. For the third one, regular inspections and maintenance. Commercial vehicles and public transport are generally subject to stricter inspection schedules, often conducted by Puspacom, Malaysia's inspection agency for commercial vehicles. These inspections help ensure that older vehicles do not exceed the prescribed emissions levels. Next, fuel quality regulations. Malaysia has implemented fuel quality standards to support emissions reduction. The country has shifted to cleaner fuel types, including Euro 5 diesel, which contains lower sulfur content and reduces NOx formation during combustion. Incentives for low-emission vehicles. Malaysia promotes the use of electric and hybrid vehicles by offering tax exemptions or reduction, as these vehicles produce little to no NOx emissions. Last but not least, penalties for non-compliance. Under the Environmental Quality Act, owners and operators of vehicles that fail to comply with emission standards may face fines, and the DOE has the authority to take action against repeat offenders. Some of the penalties are: offenders can now face fines ranging from a minimum of 10,000 ringgit to a maximum of 1 million ringgit, depending on the severity and nature of the offence. Certain serious violations may also result in imprisonment for up to 5 years, and for continuing offences, there may be additional fines imposed for each day the violation persists after a notice has been served. These enhanced penalties reflect Malaysia's commitment to enforcing environmental laws and reducing pollution from vehicular emissions. Vehicle owners and operators are advised to ensure their vehicles comply with the prescribed emission standards to avoid these substantial penalties.